Test 1, 2, 3. Recording in progress.
Welcome to the JOGC committee meeting here for April this quarter. Let me call to order, and if I could get Trustee Me, if you don't mind, doing the Pledge of Allegiance for us, that would be awesome. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. So then, go ahead and like to do the roll call for us, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Jones. This meeting is being held virtually and in person, so I will do a roll call of the trustees to confirm attendance. JOGC members sitting on the Board of Retirement, Mr. Robbins. Mr. Oakham. Here. Mr. Rue.
Here.
And Trustee Kehoe will not be joining us today. JOGC members sitting on the Board of Investment, Mr. Green.
Present.
Mr. Jones.
Present.
Ms. Mee. Present. Ms. Martin.
Present.
Staff participating in the meeting include Deputy CEO Louis Lugo, Assistant Executive Officers JJ Popowich and Laura Guglielmo, Deputy CIO Jude Perez, Chief Counsel Stephen Rice, Senior Staff Counsel Allison Barrett, HR Director Dr. Carly Natoya, Admin Services Division Manager Ricky Contreras, Supervising Administrative Assistant James Beasley, and Supervising Administrative Analyst Lindsay Knight. Staff and managers participating today include Kathy Delino, Chat Arande, Ted Granger, Cassandra Smith, Louis Gittins, Vincent Lim, Tamara Caldwell, and Tatiana Bayer. Trustees, please use the raise your hand Zoom option located in your Zoom toolbar strip under reactions to be placed in the queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants to mute their mics until you are ready to speak. And now we may proceed with the agenda.
All right. Do you want to do the procedure for
Sure. We received two requests from Trustee Martin and Trustee Rue for Just Cause B. Trustee Martin, can you publicly disclose whether any other individuals 18 years of age or older are present in the room with you?
I'm the only one present in the room.
Thank you. Trustee Rue, can you publicly disclose whether any other individuals 18 years of age or older are present in the room with you?
Yes, I'm the only one in the room as well.
Thank you, and we may proceed.
Okay, so then our first order of business is the election of officers, election of a chair and a vice chair. That's you there. Do I hear any nominations for the chair position?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes.
Patrick, you.
Oh, okay. So one. Thank you, Trustee Oakham. Do we have any other nominations for chair? Okay. With there being none, do we still vote?
No, we don't.
Okay. All right, great. So then vice chair.
Correct.
Gotcha. So do we have a nomination for vice chair for Johnson? Yes. Trustee Oakham.
Yes, Mr. Green.
Trustee Green. Are there any others? There being none. They're going to get sick of us by the time this year's over, right? So, so Trustee Green is the vice chair on that one. So, all right, thank you. So that business is over, and so then that means I have the duty. Okay, all right. Gotcha. Yeah, thank you, Trustee Oakham. I think from that perspective. Okay, so then approval of the minutes from the regular meeting that we last had on July 11th. Were there any amendments, any notes, corrections at all? Trustees, as you reviewed the minutes at all? If there being none, can I get a motion? Yep. May I have a second?
I second.
And Jemai?
Great, Mr. Oakham?
Am I allowed to vote? I was not here.
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Mee? Yes. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Robbins? Ms. Martin?
Oh, your mic, Ms. Martin. Trustee Martin.
Sorry, I thought I undid it.
Yep. Okay.
Aye.
Mr. Rue?
Could I abstain? Would that affect the vote? I mean the passage.
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'll abstain.
Okay.
Okay.
The motion passes with 2 abstentions.
All right, super. Moving on next to public comment.
We have no requests at this time.
No requests. I can imagine there being no requests here, this juicy meeting. Okay, so then non-consent items, Chief Ethics Compliance Officer and Deputy compliance, that's what's a mouthful, section A. Yes.
Great. Good morning, trustees. I am here to move forward a request to create 2 new classifications: Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer and Deputy Chief Ethics and Compliancer. We are asking to approve the creation of the positions and to escalate this item to the Board of Retirement and Board of Investment for approval. So I will kind of briefly give an overview of the lengthy memo that you have here. It will be a little bit out of order, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So the JOGC has responsibility for approving the creation of new classifications and allocating their salaries. These 2 classifications took an extra stop on the way here. They were approved by the ACRE committee. As this program is a new program and the program will have direct responsibility to the ACRE, they first reviewed and approved both class specs and salary. And technically this is coming from their committee. So a little bit about the Ethics and Compliance Program. The creation of the Ethics and Compliance Program is a goal that the Board of Retirement has laid out in their strategic plan, priority number 4, which is to develop or fully implement an integrated, structured, and mature organizational compliance and risk program. And this is in accordance with the Institute of Internal Auditors 3 lines model. There's a lot of detail in attachment A about the Ethics and Compliance Program and how it was developed. And very quickly, the Ethics and Compliance Officer will be dedicated to the ethics and compliance function within management as the second line. So it describes a 3 lines model where operation inhabits the first line and the internal auditor provides independent assurance as a third. So that is a brief overview of how this fits within the organization and the program fits in the organization and how it was developed. So as for the classifications themselves, the Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer has a reporting responsibility to the ACRE committee. They report there functionally, but administratively, we like to say that someone has to approve their time off. So currently, administratively, they will be placed in the legal office and report to, well, it's interesting. I actually don't know Steve Rice's titles. So the Chief Counsel for LACERA. Similarly, the deputy will report to the chief. Okay. We have allocated these salaries to align internally with our internal audit office. So the Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer will align with the internal auditor, and the Deputy Chief Compliance and Ethics Officer will align with the principal internal auditor. Today's request also includes draft class specifications as attachments, and you will see that all of this is a new classification. It already includes red lines. And so those came about because we developed first the chief classification and then later developed the deputy. Therefore, we included the ability to qualify for the chief with experience in the deputy. So that explains the red line, even though it hasn't been created. Usually a red line reflects a change. The whole thing is new. So we just wanted to clarify that. Also, you will see in this presentation versus the one that comes next that we have requested the approval of 2 deputy positions. And in our budget, we are including funding for 1. This is because we would like to build out the program as it will be. So in the future, we will have 2 deputy ethics and compliance officers. So we're requesting the approval for 2 so that we can get them in the ordinance. That way we don't have to go back a second time to engage with the Board of Supervisors. And lastly, the cost, the implementation cost. So the total to implement all 3 positions would be around $850,000. And currently, the chief position would be about $300,000, and the deputies $250,000. So, yes.
Why here does it say deputies 119,000 and all of a sudden it's 250?
I don't see where it says 119. I'm sorry, can you refer to a
Well, the
page number?
first page of the amendment, first page of the joint.
Oh, right. So one of them is just the cost of the salary. The other one is the fully burdened cost, which includes benefits, which is about 50%.
Excuse me, I got another question.
Yeah, absolutely, trustee.
I've been on board for 12 or 14 years.
Mhm.
We haven't had any compliance people, and I don't know, Steve, what your reaction is if we need to hire 3 people. It would seem to me you hire a chief, you develop a program.
Yes.
He thinks that is 119.
And then you go back and you start getting deputies, but I can't imagine hiring a chief and 2 deputies and cost us $850,000. I mean, I'm not sure that's needed. I'm not sure we go outside and get this kind of information for cheaper. You know, it just, to me, it's a lot of money and a lot of people, and I think I'd start a little more slowly.
This is Chair Jones and trustees and Trustee Oakham. This request today is the culmination of over a year of presentations to the boards, to the ACRE committee, and now to this committee for the development of this program. Currently, LACERA doesn't have a dedicated ethics and compliance program. It's best practice to do so. The Institute of Internal Auditors has a risk management model that has 3 lines as Carly described, an operational line, an internal audit line, and in the middle, an ethics and compliance line, which will give us a dedicated function to address risk management issues on the management side of the house. In terms of the staffing issue, we're starting with a chief. We expect to hire them, assuming this is all approved and gets through the Board of Supervisors. We hope to hire that position 3 months into the coming fiscal year. We would hire the administrative assistant for the chief 6 months into the year and hire the first deputy 9 months into the fiscal year. And we'll see where we are at that point. And this program reports to the ACRE committee, the joint boards, and the CEO, and we'll take it as it comes. But the entire program is being implemented, including these positions, pursuant to a ethics and compliance program charter that was approved by the ACRE committee and both boards. So the boards and the ACRE committee have approved of this program and the staffing.
Good. Okay. Yeah, go
To
ahead.
the Chair Jones.
Good
I
morning.
appreciate the comments, Trustee Oakham. We will not add positions if it's not warranted. In terms of the Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer, when we onboard that position, that individual will assess and create a program. So we are not just going to add a position if the work isn't there in terms of the fully vetted out program. And to Ms. Notoya's point, Dr. Notoya, we want to add these positions in the ordinance so we don't have to go through the process of a year, 2, 3 years down the line having to go through this kind of detail. So we want to upfront have it, and when we need it, utilize it in terms of the deputy.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah,
Sorry,
absolutely. Yeah.
We haven't had this ever.
No.
And I know the accountants and the people are telling us that we need a compliance. Have you seen areas in the past, and you've been here, what, 7, 8, 9 years, 10 years? Have you seen areas where we've needed a compliance officer, where we've had issues that we needed to bring somebody in, or we brought outside counsel in?
Yes, I've actually been advocating this. I think Santos has said this in board meetings in the past. I've been advocating for this program for the entire time I've been here, and I'm gratified to see that it's getting close to implementation. It's a best practice, and we don't know what we don't know. We don't have a dedicated function that is filling this role right now. Internal audit fills an independent assurance role. They do a great job at that. We have compliance being performed day to day at the operational level, but we don't have a dedicated function within management to make sure that we are have proper processes in place to ensure compliance and minimize risk. This function also includes ethics and compliance, and I wouldn't identify specific problems, but I would say that there's room for improvement, and this will enable our organization to move forward more in a better, more disciplined way on ethics, compliance, and risk management. And I don't know whether Richard is here, but you might be interested in hearing Richard Bendel's views on this program.
Thank you, Mr. Bendel. Yep. Good morning to you, since Steve outed you. Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah, Mr. Oakham, I think that what we've seen in other pension funds is that have mature compliance programs, that this would be commensurate with what they have there. It's definitely, you need to have a robust, centralized program. We have compliance to the organization. Obviously, we've been compliant to a large degree. However, having a centralized compliance function is a best practice. Internal audit does provide some of that role, as Mr. Rice stated, but having that centralized function, that aligned assurance between internal audit and the compliance program is really, really important. So I hear what you say about efficiency and growing into it, but I think that it's not too big to have the size that they're proposing. It's right sized.
Will this person be an attorney?
Not necessarily. It's somebody who will have ethics and compliance experience. Some chief compliance officers are attorneys, but many are not.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. One of the other ways I understood it, Trustee Oakham, was that in our overall kind of best in class framework, when we look at our peers that are at our fund size or where we're going to, they also have this function. So we're also trying to benchmark ourselves, organization across that. So that's the way it was kind of set up there too.
It's also worth mentioning that the creation of this program is a strategic goal that the Board of Retirement approved in 2023. It's also interesting looking at LA County, that Measure G, we're a little bit ahead of the county on this, but Measure G includes the creation of an ethics and compliance program at the county.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. So yes.
Mr. Oakham, I was sitting on the audit committee. This was a restructuring. I try and, compartmentalize all this stuff. It was well thought of, finding a place for that compliance to land. So they kind of did this conglomerate with audit, compliance, and whatnot, put it all together. So it's going to be under this umbrella committee. And this new position is for that compliance and ethics side. And it was really well thought of and discussed and picked apart in the audit committees that we morphing into this and changing policy for this development. And like Mr. Rice said, it was, we're trying to get ahead of it and, be a tip of the spear, best in class as we've been. So that's kind of the genesis of it. And I know it looks like a lot of money, but it's necessary for that oversight for what the compliance office is going to do now. So if that sheds some light.
And as long as you start off with the chief and then find out what we need before we go, going too wild with additional
Personnel, yeah. No, and thank you, Louis, for clarifying that too. Any other questions, trustees? Yeah, Trustee Mee.
So my first question is, I'm looking into the function of this position, right? I want to have a little bit clarification about how does it overlap or integrate it with HR function in terms of employee, conducts, misbehavior, discipline, right? That kind of practice that normally without this unit, I would assume traditionally would belong to HR, right? So how does it work now? We have this new unit, but some of the work will be collaborate in, overlap or in any way, right? Such as like harassment, complaint, how does that go about?
Yeah, I certainly think that we would collaborate, but I'm not sure that our duties would overlap. So the Ethics and Compliance Office is really focused organization-wide and really emphasizing how we as an organization and as a management team, as a leadership team, and as even an HR team, one, live up to our values, and two, comply with both the letter and the spirit of our organizational policies. Right now, the HR approach overlaps where we do advocate that people comply with our values and policies, but it's a little bit different. It's not at the organizational level pushing compliance as a, well, I was going to say as a function of management, but we do work on behalf of management. So we are usually on the, I'm hesitating to say this because I don't want to give HR the reputation of having a heavy hand, but we're usually on the other side of things. Whereas we emphasize and encourage, we also get called in a lot when there is a lack or a gap in compliance. And we work with managers to figure out how to maybe remediate and cover those gaps better in the future.
Right. I would suggest maybe have a little bit of discussion in this document, just so that people reading and understanding how does it integrate with HR function.
Yeah, so definitely, we both are advocates of work on behalf of management, and we definitely have the same perspective that we do need to live by our values and comply with our policies.
Yeah, I didn't see the discussion in materials, so thinking might be good to have a little bit integrate into that so that people know how does it work with HR function.
Absolutely,
So,
that's a great point.
Thank you for your answer. The other question is that I see one of the function is that risk assessment is going to be with this new unit, right? So I know the audit team is often have a lot of high risk finding, medium risk finding. Would that be a part of assessment integrate into the findings from audit team?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the main reasons why we need a compliance program. So we definitely find that the audit function and the compliance and ethics function as described by IAA, I think I got that acronym right, are definitely related but separate. And so right now, I think that the internal audit unit does a great job of covering some of these items, but there needs to be a more robust program definitely focused on compliance and ethics so that they can be separate. And it's more like a check and a balance, right? We don't want them to overlap. They do have separate functions.
For the
Through the chair.
yeah, Steve, I was going to just ask you. I said I know through the presentations, and I know it's tough trusting me because we see so many presentations and decks, but I know there was and I know Chairman Keogh at one point was very strong on the line. So I know there's already been a robust discussion and presentation about where the lines cross and where they're not on that. So it might be worth just renoting it, and we may want to make sure to the degree that the public is interested in the distinction that important distinction that Trustee Mee is talking about, that the programmatic deck where I remember the circles and the lines and all that being drawn attempt to clarify very much where things would fall in on which areas. This document was not meant to address that.
Thank you. That's good context. In addition, the risk assessment that the Ethics and Compliance Office will perform will be limited to ethics and compliance risks. It will not duplicate other risks that internal audit addresses in their risk assessment. Tomorrow at the audit committee, Mr. Bendel will be talking about the internal audit risk assessment that will be beginning shortly and will be presented to the ACRE committee in June. The ethics and compliance program will be tagging onto that, and we'll be adding questions and assessment related to specifically to ethics and compliance risks. So it's part of the aligned assurance that Richard just mentioned, and a collaborative process between internal audit and ethics and compliance when it comes to risk assessment.
One comment on the qualification of the job, right? So I'm looking at page 15. It says a bachelor degree in accounting, business administration, finance, legal study, public administration. So I would suggest to add a bachelor degree or a master degree so that we don't exclude people that potentially be even more qualified for this job. So this is like a comment that I would suggest for all the position, the chief and then the deputy.
Yeah, definitely. So we do try to set our entrance requirements at the minimum. So the minimum would definitely be the bachelor's degree. Someone with a master's degree would definitely qualify and be competitive for the job. Similarly, I think someone asked Mr. Rice if this position would be a lawyer, where it's not necessary. Having a JD might make the person more competitive, but we do want to set it at what is minimally required, and people are able to go.
That's why I say or not and, so some people didn't do a bachelor degree in those areas, but they did a master degree in those areas, right? So it's not and, but or. So you still keep the minimal requirement being like a bachelor degree, but allowing people who have master degree also qualify.
But a master's degree in business or something related to that.
The same area.
Yeah.
Same area.
So we do also allow for, let me see. At the chief level, additional experience. So 3 years at the level of deputy. So at the level of a deputy, it's really about the duties and things that they've done that make them prepared and qualified for the position. And in different organizations, that experience may or may not have a requirement for a degree. So we try to leave the pathway as open as possible for people with the right set of experience and preparedness and background to present themselves for this
that's the
opportunity.
option B. That's totally fine. I totally agree. That should, option B should be there. Just option A, should be even more open. That's my suggestion. Add,
Okay.
or master degree, bachelor or master degree.
Thank you.
If I may.
Hold on real quick. Is it a clarifying one? Because I know David and Debbie been waiting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to, because I know they're far away, so it probably feels like we're not paying attention to them. As the coffee's starting to kick in, I think, with the trustee hands going up. So I'll come back to you though. I got you. Trustee Rue and then Trustee Martin.
Thank you. I just want to quickly just state that, I fully support this measure, this initiative. And I just want to highlight to the board members, this will actually be a lot more cost effective because I know I have a lot of ethics questions and I've been bombarding Steve and his team and Jessica and his team. And sometimes he has to refer to our outside counsel whose hourly rate is a lot more expensive. So by having this ethics division and staff, we will have a more cost-effective measure as well as a more robust measure from what I could see here. So just wanted to say I'm fully supportive of this.
Okay. Trustee Martin and then Trustee Green.
I'm just going to be quick. I've been the chair of the ACRE or audit committee for a year and going to a second year. And my background is finance. My background is a CPA. I've been in audit a long time. Richard Bendel and I go back years. So there's the big difference between audit and ethic compliance is that audit focuses on the operations, like the internal controls and the operation efficiency and the risks within the operation. Compliance is totally different. It deals with mainly ethics and the ethical boundaries. So audit is not or cannot spend the time doing that. And in the industry, it's becoming more and more important to have a compliance because ethics has become a huge issue. I just wanted to share that. That's it.
Thank you, Trustee Martin, for clarifying that. Trustee Green.
Yeah, it's required for span of control, these new ordinance positions. So I would like to move to recommend to the BOR and the BOI that we adopt this, including securing the ordinance position for the second deputy position.
I second it. Debbie seconds it.
Thank you.
I would suggest, modify it as my suggestion.
All right. Do we want to modify it? I trust the staff to to post it as it needs to be posted, classification. I don't want to micromanage on that level, but if you want to bring it to a vote, trustee me, we can bring it to a vote. Okay. So what exactly is your motion?
Just adding, the qualification for option A, open it up for people that have master's degree. So it's a bachelor degree or master's degree. So that's only change.
So you just want to add the language, even though based on her experience, having the minimum requirement doesn't preclude someone with a master's. So it's not as if the way it's written means that if you don't have a master's, you can't do it. You just want to add an additional language that kind of, I'm just trying to make sure we're being precise here, because
so if I'm an audience, a potential candidate reading this description here, I would say, oh, I don't have a bachelor degree in this area. I guess I don't qualify, right? So.
Good morning.
But I have a master's degree in this area. I'm not sure. Is
okay.
it, unclear?
Good morning, Bro.
Through the chair, Ms. Mee, I think what Ms. Mee is trying to say as an example is a candidate might have an unrelated bachelor's degree, let's say in the humanities, but may have a master's degree in one of the areas that we're talking about. Our experience in the way the HR would assess that is that it's at a minimum of that level of education. So if somebody had a master's degree in one of these areas, even though their undergraduate degree was in something unrelated, it would still be included as be considered as meeting those requirements.
I think this imply, it's implied in there, but it's not clear enough. I think we might lose some candidates because of that.
Okay, I think we understand your
yeah, I understand
concern.
what you're saying. I'm not sure if we can write it better than the way it's been written.
I think that kind of goes to a broader issue when we look at our minimum requirements and our requirements for all of our positions, which I think is not really related just to this, to make sure that we are being as inclusive as possible, which I think is your point.
Yeah.
We're happy to look at those.
Thank you.
It also has to fall within existing nomenclature and comparatively with county ordinance positions existing. So I think that language mimics that. That's just my 2 cents.
Right,
Mr. Chair, I'll second the motion. I mean, it's just an extra clarification. I don't think it hurts. So I'll second the motion.
All right. So we already have one motion that's been first and seconded. So we'll vote on that one. And then if that one doesn't pass, yeah, if that one doesn't pass, then we can vote on Ms. Mee's amendment. We already had one that was first and seconded.
Actually,
Brown Act process would be that the substitute motion is voted on first.
Okay, gotcha. So let's do that then.
Mr. Oakham,
Aye.
Ms. Mee,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Okay.
Mr. Robbins,
Aye.
Ms. Martin,
Aye.
Mr. Rue,
yes.
Mr. Jones.
Nay.
The motion passes with 5 yeses and 2 noes.
Are we gonna rewrite that section? What does this mean?
You vote. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, when we voted on, I'm trusting Dr. knows exactly what she's doing. So I'm gonna leave the motions on that hand. That's why I voted
That's why you voted, okay.
against it. Yeah.
Can somebody review that motion so we know where we're going?
The motion is to accept staff's recommendation with the amendment to the language regarding the educational requirements.
Oh, I didn't understand that. Mm-mm.
Is this specific educational
Regarding the
requirement?
match, I kept it general to give them room to review that educational requirement.
Okay. Do we have to approve now that educational
So we
requirement?
just approved that amendment for staff to be.
But it doesn't say very much.
I'm not sure how staff is going to revise that specifically in the ordinance. So they're going to be looking at that to make those revisions.
Well, Mr. Chair.
I have
Mr.
a
Chair.
point of order, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like there's some confusion with what we just voted on. I would like to request an analysis of, so everybody's clear on the substitute motion, what we're voting on before we do the first motion. Mr. Rice, can you please weigh in?
Yes, Chair Jones and trustees, my understanding was the motion was to add the word to approve staff's recommendation with the addition of or masters in the qualifications, the minimum qualifications.
That's what I was voting on.
And I think we had a lengthy discussion. I think staff understood, right? Staff?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Do we need anything else then? We done with that?
I think we still need to approve the actual item.
Okay. All right, so the actual
Well,
item,
just a
we
point of
weren't
order.
approving the item with just the amendment, so we got to go back to, or the,
Point of order, my understanding of trustees motion, which is now passed, was to address the entire item.
Okay.
Recommend this committee is recommending approval to the boards with the addition of or masters in the minimum qualifications.
Yeah.
So the entire item has now been acted upon.
okay, super.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I think. Let's see. All right, so the fiscal year proposed administrative budgets.
We have to vote on the first motion.
No, it was included.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
Yeah, so that was what Steve's clarification.
I thought
So
Steve said we had to vote on the amendment first, and then we voted on the
original proposition with the amendment of adding the master's thing to it was what we voted for.
That's
so
okay.
Okay, yeah. All right, party people. Who's starting this one off? Is it Laura or? Oh, good morning.
Is my mic on? Okay. So, good morning, Chair Jones and committee members. My name is Ricky Contreras. I am the Administrative Services Division Manager. I'm delighted to be here with you all today to present our fiscal year 25-26 proposed budget. Before we begin, I want to recognize the significant teamwork and collaboration of our dedicated LACERA team members who contributed countless hours to this effort. And so first, I would like to thank our budget team who is here in the room today. Kaylin Ung, Jonathan Tran, and Martin Sandoval, with assistance from Jackson Hsu and Janique Kaseshians. Our communications team, Erica Heru, Veronica Yee Martinez, and Amanda Aguayo. Our human resource team, Carly Natoya, Annette Cleary, and Angelo Araneta. Our systems team, Kathy Delano, Tom DeLuca, Manoj Pidmatsa, Cookie Jaramillo, and Lynn Francisco. And our leadership team, including all division managers, as well as the executive office for their continued guidance and support, and including Terry Moore for her very sharp eye. Thank you also to Bonnie, who will be driving our slides today. Next slide, please. So on the screen, you will see today's agenda. I'm gonna be. This fiscal year, our budgetary focus was on prudence, ensuring that our financial decisions are both sustainable and align with our strategic priorities, initiatives, and long-term goals. We prioritize limiting growth in administrative expenses while still investing strategically in key areas that are essential for the strength and efficiency of LACERA. Our strategic initiatives this year have been centered around strengthening our internal capabilities, particularly in information technology and human resources. And for that reason, you will hear directly today from Kathy Delano, who leads our information technology team, and Dr. Carly Natoya, who leads our human resources team. These investments are critical to support our operational needs and to ensure that we have people and tools necessary to manage our pension system effectively. By focusing on these key areas, we are committed to maintaining the integrity and reliability of our services, ensuring that we continue to meet our fiduciary responsibilities, which we will cover briefly in the next slide. Both the County Employees Retirement Law, SURL, and the California Constitution ensure the public pension and retirement system assets are managed with the utmost fiduciary responsibility. Joint boards are empowered to improve budgets, provided they do not exceed 21 basis points of the actuarial accrued liability by June 30th of every fiscal year. These funds are held in trust exclusively for the benefit of system participants and their beneficiaries, as well as defraying reasonable administrative expenses. The fiduciary duty of the joint boards mandates that they act solely in the interest of these beneficiaries, prioritizing the minimization of employer contributions and covering reasonable system administrative costs. To support this duty, LACERA has developed a structured budget development process, which we will review on the next slide. LACERA's budget development process is a structured and detailed approach aimed at ensuring fiscal management and alignment with the organization's mission, vision, and values, as well as each board's strategic plan. The process is crucial for transparency and accountability. This slide indicates key phases from strategic planning in September, October to final approvals by both boards no later than June 30th. The structured approach ensures that all stakeholders are engaged and informed throughout the process, leading to a well-considered budget proposal, which we will be discussing today. Next slide, please. This slide is especially important for trustees to understand. C plus I equals B plus E. Contributions plus investment earnings equal benefits plus expenses. This is the formula for pension plans and specifically how LACERA will ensure we can fulfill our mission to produce, protect, and provide the promised benefits. LACERA pays out $4.5 billion annually in the promised benefits and collects $3.4 billion annually in contributions from our plan sponsors and in members. We are considered a mature plan because we pay out more in benefits than we collect in employee and employer contributions. And for this reason, investment earnings are critical to the durability of the fund and how we ensure we're able to pay the promised benefit to our members for their lifetime. The public often assumes that these benefits are paid from their tax dollars when in fact only 22 cents of every dollar of benefits paid comes from the employer. Employees contribute 10 cents and the vast majority, 68 cents, comes from investment earnings. SURL indicates that 100% of LACERA's administrative budget is funded from investment earnings, and any unspent administrative dollars remain in the trust where they can be invested. Now that we have covered legal authority, the budget process, and funding, let's look to the basis for our current year proposed budget. Thank you, Bonnie. For fiscal year 25-26, the statutory limit under SURL is approximately $199 million. That limit is set at 21 basis points of the actuarial accrued liability as of June 30th, 2024. The proposed budget totals approximately $146 million. The difference, which is referred to as unappropriated funds, is approximately $53 million and remains available to the boards to appropriate should there be an emergency or an unplanned need that arise. Because we have not budgeted for any COLA increases for the last 6 months of fiscal year 25-26, it is possible that staff may return for an additional appropriation. However, every effort will be made to absorb the increase. And if you're interested in reading the valuation, it can be found on LACERA.com. Let's see. Let's go to the next slide, please. LACERA has 3 operating budgets. We will spend most of the time today discussing our $146 million proposed administrative budget, which provides the necessary resources to administer the promised pension plan benefits and is funded from pension plan assets. LACERA's pension plan trust cannot be used to fund other post-entitlement benefits, such as retiree health care. So any staff time or resources spent towards those purposes must be reimbursed to the pension plan. The retiree healthcare benefits program proposed budget, which is $13.1 million for fiscal year 25-26, provides the resources to administer the retiree healthcare benefits for eligible retirees. Administrative costs, including staff and expenses, are funded through an administrative fee, currently $8 per member per plan per month. Please note that the administrative costs are held in a separate account where they are collected and used to fund the retiree healthcare division's operating expenses. Over time, administrative fees collected have at times exceeded actual administrative expenses, resulting in an accumulated surplus balance. This accumulated surplus funds current day shortfalls between the actual fees collected and administrative expenditures. Additionally, RHC staff negotiate healthcare premiums, but those costs are not included in the RHC budget. RHC bills the plan sponsors, which are LA County, Superior Court, LACERA, and other special districts, for healthcare premium costs on a pay-as-you-go basis and passes those funds through to pay the carriers. Finally, the OPEB trust was established to pre-fund the retiree healthcare liability for employees of LA County, the Superior Courts, and LACERA. Outside districts are not pre-funding. The trust names the Board of Investments to manage the assets, and currently the OPEB trust is not used to pay premiums. The assets are invested with the goal of having the trust operate similarly to the pension fund trust, where investment earnings pay the majority of the costs and the employer sponsors pay only the actually determined contributions. The proposed OPEB trust budget for fiscal year 25-26 is $1.3 million. Next slide, please. This slide shows a 3-year trend of LACERA's administrative budget in millions, with the orange column on the far right representing our fiscal year 25-26 proposed budget request. The variance from 24-25 to 25-26 is 4.5%, with the majority of that increase being attributed to salaries and employee benefits. Next slide, please. This chart provides a snapshot of the 3-year budget trend for the retiree healthcare benefits program and the OPEB trust. The proposed budget for each is represented by the orange bar on the far right of both charts. Next slide, please. LACERA developed our work plans and budgets in alignment with the Board of Retirement's strategic priorities of superior member experience, innovation through technology, investing in people, enterprise risk management, and compliance and fiscal durability. I will now turn the presentation over to Kathy Delino, who leads our information technology team and who will share in more detail our investment in technology.
Thank you, Ricky. So I'm going to spend a few minutes going through the IT spending plan, both for the current year and for the proposed next fiscal year. You want to go ahead and go to the next slide, please? And then the next one. Let's dive into it. So for the current fiscal year, the IT spending plan was approximately $25 million. And I wanted to point out that over the last 5 years, LACERA has invested more in technology, mostly as a reaction to the pandemic. And we're not alone. You know, companies all over the globe have invested more in technology just to be able to conduct business. Probably the most well-known example of this is Bank of America. Brian Moynihan, the CEO of Bank of America, once said that Bank of America is a technology company with a banking license. And so that's oversimplifying their business plan. But his point was they spend aggressively on technology in order to stay competitive and to be able to conduct their business. After he said that, other CEOs chimed in and said every company is a technology company. So I don't think that LACERA is a technology company that issues benefit payments, but over the last 5 years and going forward, we do more often choose to use technology to solve problems, focusing on modernizing our technology, focusing on the data we have to solve our problems. I also want to point out that LACERA has 5 strategic initiatives. Only one of them calls out technology specifically, and that's the second one. It's innovation through technology, but all 5 initiatives require one or more new technology solutions. So there are a lot of asks coming in right now for IT spending.
Hey, Kathy, just
yeah,
a quick note here. I think the overall attitude of the board since I've been on here is, probably an energy to invest more in technology, even beyond maybe initially what management had envisioned. I think the thing that I'm most interested in is not kind of being sold on why we need to up our IT spending. One of the things I've asked for, and it won't happen today, but just as a general oversight perspective, is just trying to get the ROI on our current spend. Like, how well are we assimilating the technologies that we invest in, and what are the reasonable efficiencies, operating leverage, or what's the benefit of that? So at some point, and I think the closest I think we might have got to that might have been the retreat last year in Long Beach or wherever we were, where I think you had a dedicated section where you were talking about the 5-year or 6-year kind of plan around technology.
Yeah.
But I think what would be helpful, potentially even in the budget conversations, is also being mindful to remind the board of the money that we've already approved to be spent. Here are the improvements, or here are the things that we're realizing from previous votes and previous expenditures would be helpful.
Absolutely.
So,
yes. And we did hear your request, Trustee Jones, and we've been working on a return on investment model that we will present. I think it's going to be at an upcoming OOC.
Okay.
Where we'll go through our past projects and show the return on investment. So you can look forward to that.
Yeah, thank you, Kat.
Yeah. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so I wanted to just call out a few of the projects that we completed this year with that $25 million spending plan. So probably the most significant is case management. We have 3 processes that are now in production for case management. A great return on investment with this one, and we'll talk in more detail about that return on investment at that upcoming OOC. But it streamlined our processes, improved our collaboration. We're able to better manage our resources, and overall it improved our productivity. We also have launched a contract system, an ECLM. This system supports our centralized vendor management, great return on investment as well. I think the most immediate return from this is all of our business that used to be conducted by email with contracts is now in a centralized application. So it's much more efficient. It's also going to help our compliance officer. It helps all of the MAC members. And then we've also implemented some new solutions for human resources. We have expanded the use of NeoGov. So we have NeoGov Perform fully implemented in the process of, by the end of this fiscal year, will be implemented, where we can do personnel evaluations for both represented and non-represented staff through NeoGov. It's a great solution. We're also implementing NeoGov Learn, that I'm sure Carly is pretty excited about, but it's a centralized learning management system. And we can also track certifications, training that all of our staff have had. So a great tool as well. So just wanted to highlight a few of the projects that we've completed this year. We'll go on to the next slide. And so for next fiscal year's IT spending plan is for $27 million. And we will be moving forward with some new projects. And I wanted to go through those in a little more detail as well, if you can advance to the next slide. So I want to highlight a few of the new asks for next year. We have under new software, we're asking for a digital mailroom solution. This will be, it'll serve 2 purposes. One is really for business continuity. We've had several near disasters or disasters which have made it hard to get to our building. and all of our mail is collected and delivered to this building. So for business continuity, a digital mailroom solution would move that operation somewhere else, and our mail would be delivered to us digitally. We also have Microsoft Fabric implementation, and that is to support our data initiative. It is an add-on to the Power BI product that we currently have. Project portfolio management solution, that is for our project management office. We have a lot of projects going on that affect, and they all affect the entire organization. The PPM solution does give a greater control for resource planning, and we're looking forward to that. And then in terms of enterprise software that will help the entire organization, we have the continuation of phase 2 for case management. And then we also have the member experience communication project. This is a new call center solution. We have that in the budget. We have enterprise knowledge management solution in the budget as well. And that is to support one of our strategic initiatives. And then the last one on the list is a GRC solution, governance, risk, and compliance, to support our new compliance officer.
Kathy, another question.
Oh, yeah.
Enterprise knowledge management system, does that overlap prospectively with some of the enterprise level AI programs that are out there that are
Yes.
designed? Okay.
Yes, it does.
Not the same, but for it.
We could, so well, the where we are in that project is we have a consulting group that is doing the taxonomy of all of our knowledge, and then they will help us prepare an RFP for a solution. So there are a lot of tools out there that have their own AI components. We also use Copilot, which is AI from Microsoft. So we'll see how the project plays out, but there will be some integration between the two.
Okay.
Definitely. I can see where we would use possibly some Copilot agents in collaboration with another tool, depending on how the RFP goes.
Got it.
Any other questions? Okay. So I did want to highlight two projects that are important because we're asking for additional temporary spending for these projects. So the first one is enterprise business intelligence, and this is one of our strategic initiatives. Last month at the OOC, we did a presentation on where we are in that project. We have a data lake. We have some dashboards put up, but we need additional resources to move it forward. The main goal of this is to have one centralized source of data that is governed, centralized governance of data, but then distribute the access to the data. So historically, systems has kind of been gatekeeping our data because we want to make sure that when there's a public records request, that the data is accurate. But it does take a lot of time. And we also have a series of reports that are distributed by email automatically, all throughout the day. And our, the biggest complaint with that is, when a report is distributed, we don't need it. And when we need it, we can't find it. So that's where this business intelligence comes in, where the dashboards have the data that's current and available that can be used to make decisions. So with this, the ask is for $840,000 for temporary resources, one data architect, a business intelligence analyst, and 2 business intelligence developers. So we do have the resources on the data side. The data lake has been established. The pipelines are in place. And when I don't want to go into too much detail on this, but the real value of the data lake is it brings in member data and enterprise data, where and then it's accessible to everyone. Whereas before, it would have to go to systems for someone to determine where all the data is. It just makes it available to everyone. What we're lacking is go back one. Yeah, sorry. What we're lacking is the business intelligence developers and also a data architect to come in temporarily and oversee our pipelines and make sure that we're making the right decisions on how we design the data lake.
Kathy, do we have a organization that's a benchmark for us in terms of their technology architecture, or is it a CalPERS, CalSTRS? Is it somebody else? Do we have any reference point to know the gap between kind of current full implementation of a stack and where we are?
No, I don't know that we do, but we do collaborate with, all of the other retirement associations. Mostly it's when we collaborate with them, it's on pension administration, but that's a good point. We will reach out to them and see where
It might just be
are.
nice to know at the board level, just to kind of know, we're 90th percentile, or we 50th percentile, just in terms of some of the things being used to manage. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do. The other project that I want to highlight is our mainframe migration. So LACERA still has a mainframe, and we started a project in the mid 2010s, like 2015, to migrate all of our programs off of that, and we migrated most of it off, and we still have some batch programs that are running there. So my first the computer that I first programmed on was an IBM mainframe. So I do understand the dependability and the performance of the mainframe, but in our experience at LACERA, it is not scalable, it's not portable, and we have a really big problem with a declining developer pool.
I was going to say, just age is going to be
I
knocking quite
I
a
just
few
told
of
you
those
how
out.
old I was tonight. But there is a declining developer pool. And so then the resources get more expensive, the ones that are available. So we really need to move forward on this project. This will be a huge return on investment because we currently spend $1,400,000 a year on the mainframe for the hardware and the software. And at this point, the workloads running on the mainframe really don't justify that expense. So there'll be a huge savings. Our estimated annual savings is $800,000. That's very conservative. It's going to be more than that. And so in order to move this, we've talked about needing this for many years, but we just didn't have the resources. And so we're now asking for the resources dedicated to get this done, 2 business analysts and 2 Java developers. So and so that's the last project that I wanted to highlight. And I think I'll just maybe pause for a minute and answer any questions that you have.
I do, if it's okay through the chair. I think it's great. We have to update our software, as they say, right? So the hardware issues, like with our maintaining an on-site mainframe and whatnot. So this stuff's going to get farmed out then, right? There's going to be some contracted all this data migration that's going to go. Just a security question as far as, when we hand over the keys, so to speak, to the castle, to somebody else. I mean, we could literally close off our system and make it closed to the rest of the world if need be with it on site. Is there any concern with that? And we hear data breaches all the time and whatnot. Is there any talk that in the future that we scrub that old hardware system and update it for ourselves so we can have a closed system for the most crucial of data management and security?
Yeah, a lot of good questions. Thank you,
Sorry.
Trustee Green. So I will tell you that we are privately hosting our mainframe. It was on site 4 years ago, and we moved it to a privately hosted solution. And we have very few things that run on premise anymore. We used to have 3 data centers. We're now down to 1. And so most of our solutions are hosted. You do touch on a popular theme these days, and it's called data repatriation. And that is sometimes for security reasons or simply because of the expense. Some companies are bringing systems and data back on site. I don't see that in our strategy right now, but it is something that we work with information security on regularly, as well as all of our system architects. This is our plan. Do we want to continue down this road? So we will continue to be evaluating that.
Yeah, thank you for addressing the cost savings alone and maintaining all that stuff, and all the code transition too, and translation is, I know that's labor intensive, but yeah, just I'm concerned about it. We look at militaries and stuff that have closed systems, and even then somehow somebody brings in a thumb drive and Stuxnet virus. Okay. I'll just say it. So it happens, right? And we're big, so we're a target. And I know you guys are on it. I just wanted to ask if there's any plan for it.
Yeah.
It looks like a really great thing.
Yeah. Oh, maybe what I can suggest is during a closed session of OOC, we go through how we're securing our different hosted solutions. And I think that we could talk openly in a closed session about the technologies that we use.
I think that's great. And that might be something for a future agenda. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I want to ask. Cybersecurity, obviously, AI would also enable, cyber attack. So we need to be prepared for that. And then we need to have a plan, like how to go about it. So if it is something that more appropriate to discuss in closed session, I would looking forward to hear more about cybersecurity in our team, how we prepare for that.
Absolutely.
That's one question. The other question is, I'm thinking when we create this strategic initiative of innovation technology, right? It was like 2023. I do see great progress that we made, from in that era of digital transformation, right? Before that was told that we're on papers. So this is like all the projects we went through. That's the most amazing progress that we made. So thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you.
My thought is along AI. So a few years back, we are digital transformation era. Now we're in AI. So that's after we made this strategic initiative goal. So I'm thinking with AI today, a lot of corporations leverage it to improve efficiency, productivity, and major corporations even lay off with anticipation of productivity gain from AI. So I'm thinking for that, how's our plan? How do we leverage that for our organization as a whole to achieve that goal to improve productivity? Maybe that would help with the what's that 19% vacancy. So ease a little bit stress on that, right? So if we can improve.
Yeah, great question. So in terms of AI, we do have an AI policy, and the AI governance is controlled through our Information Security Committee. It's an internal committee that we have that the Information Security Division runs. We have rolled out Copilot for the organization, and we do have a Copilot Champions program. And so there's a lot of collaboration on how to best use it. We've trained the organization in the basic use of Copilot, and we're going to have a second round of training for that. We're also, in terms of AI governance, we will be watching the implementation of solutions that have AI. For example, our knowledge matter management solution will have AI in it. So we'll need to be aware of that. We still need, what's that? MECP. Yeah, and our new call center solution has an AI component. There are a lot of opportunities, as you can imagine, with software development for the use of AI. So all of that will be, communicated to our information security team so that we're aware of it. But I don't see going forward that LACERA would eliminate any positions. I think it will allow us to be more efficient, and it may eliminate the need for new positions.
Thank you. Yeah. So that it does, change. I'm glad, we are all along that line when we look for new products and we're considering the AI components. So all the products we are implementing this moment, I wonder if it's some that might be already outdated since AI is changing how SaaS, being done today. So I'm thinking, would that be a note that we should keep in mind when we look at the current existing solution? Is it outdated? Should we look for even better solution out there? Might be available even like in a day or 2 weeks. Everything changing fast.
Absolutely. One of the phrases that I use to motivate myself sometimes is, if you're coasting, you're going downhill. Same is true with technology. If you pause, if you coast, you're already behind. So we'll do our best to keep up. But also on that same theme, if you exceed the speed limit, we don't want to be pulled over for reckless driving. So there's a balance there. And I do think our IT spending plan is balanced so that we can move forward without being reckless.
Thank you. That's all question.
Anybody from the virtual world? I got to tell you, I got you beat. The first time I programmed was on an Atari 800 in a language called Pilot. If you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. So,
You're in good company.
yeah. 10-line code is. That's why I'm not a programmer. All right. So looking for. We have to. I'm sorry. We have another portion of this.
I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Natoya. She's going to talk about staffing and hiring.
Thanks. Salary and employee benefits make up a significant portion of our budget. So I'll be presenting information about the status of hiring and vacancies in LACERA's funded positions. Strategic priority 3.3, investing in people, focuses on attracting, hiring, motivating, and retaining a highly engaged and skilled workforce. So although you won't see all of those things and related activities reflected in these slides, the next few slides are going to provide an overview of the status of hiring activity specifically. So this slide that is up right now is the key performance indicators showing a 3-year trend. This slide is also presented routinely in the CEO dashboard. These KPIs show the number of exams administered by LACERA, our outside recruitments, attrition, and total hiring activity separated by both internal, can we go back one? Okay, separated by both internal promotions and new hires. And so it includes the past 2 fiscal years and this year through March, and then a projection for June 30th, 2024. Okay, 2025, this year. So the following slides provide a little bit more detail on the information here and just expands on it. So the LACERA uses a combination of in-house staff and external vendors to recruit and assess candidates to produce eligible lists from which candidates are hired. This year, LACERA HR produced nearly 50% more eligible lists than last year, and this is the second year in a row that HR produces 50% more eligible lists than the previous year. And this continues a trend of increased output year over year. LACERA uses external recruiters this year to fill vacancies in IT Specialist 1 and the IT Specialist 2 classifications, in addition to Staff Counsel. So excluding the Staff Counsel positions, the average time to hire, defined as the date that the job posting starts, opens to accept applications, to the person's start date, including LACERA administered and vendor administered exams, was 152.5 days. And it ranges from 62 days to 241 days. And as a comparison, LA County right now is averaging 281. This fiscal year, LACERA added 2 human resources staff members to the talent acquisition and management team. This brings the total to 7 staff members tasked with recruiting, exams, performance management, and providing direct support to division managers. As a direct result of hiring additional staff members, LACERA has increased its capacity to administer more exams at a time, as evidenced by we have a exam hiring priority list that's published monthly on LACERA.com, or sorry, our LACERA intranet, LACERA Connect. And we have less exams in tier 0 than we did at the start of the year. Next slide, please. This shows exam metrics. Small chart, not a lot to say. In 24-25, these numbers are reflected through the Q3. And as shown by the number of applicants that we're receiving, LACERA continues to attract a large number of candidates and appears to continue to be an employer of choice. So next slide, please. Attrition continues to be an impactful consideration when discussing hiring and decreasing the vacancy rate. Promotions don't decrease the vacancy rate, so the impact of attrition must be considered against new hires only. So for example, this year we anticipate 60 hiring actions, so 30 new hires and 30 promotions, but with the 30 new hires and 21 separations in the same year, the net total is 9 new hires, which will not significantly decrease the vacancy rate given the number of overall actions. So 9 compared to 60. Okay, Thank you. So the breakdown for projected hiring. So by the end of this year, LACERA is projected to hire, to complete 60 hiring actions. This year, hiring actions have been in systems, admin services, member services, human resources, communications, FASD, investments, legal, and internal audit. So quite a few divisions have onboarded new staff members. The hiring projected to take place by June is the culmination of work that started, some of it last year, some of it at the beginning of this fiscal year. There are 18 other hiring actions anticipated through the end of the year, so including RBS2 promotions, new hires and promotions in FASD as we continue to implement the FASD study, and 3 other parts of the organization. So this fiscal year, I'm sorry, can you go back one more? LACERA has not onboarded an RBS1 training class, which usually accounts for the largest number of hiring actions in the year. So it can be anywhere between 18 to 30. And given the time of the year, not all the exams that have started in this fiscal year will result in hires onboarding through this year, so before July 1st. But the work performed this year will create eligible lists and will benefit eligible lists that will be valid for the next 12 months and will result in hires in the next fiscal year. So hopefully these things that we are doing help us to move towards the immediate short-term goal of decreasing the vacancy rate to 15%. Okay, next slide, please. One of the things that was asked about last year, very much related to attrition, was historical retirement. So we have provided a historical view of LACERA staff member retirements for the past 5 years. One chart shows the number of LACERA retirements per year, and then the other provides a view of the average years of service and the age at retirement. Okay, and the next slide. So this last slide forecasts our current workforce's retirement. So using the modeling information in the last slide, retirement age of 64.2 and 24.5 years of service, we anticipate 13 retirements this year. And that's retirements only, not total attrition. So this trend is increasing yearly, and this yearly increase will then in turn have to be overcome to decrease the vacancy rate going forward. So with that, we conclude the little overview of hiring and staffing. And so I'll turn it back over to Ms. Contreras, the Director of Admin Services.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into our budget for administrative service, or our administrative budget. We'll start with our budget assumptions. LACERA uses incremental based budgeting. We take the prior year adopted budget as our base and focus on changes to our core costs and activities. The next slide is going to be related to specifically the assumptions made to our salaries and employee benefits. The first assumption I'd like to highlight is related to COLAs. As our current MOU expires at the end of this calendar year, no COLAs beyond 1/1/26 were included. The second assumption is related to our benefit costs, which is estimated at 53% of salaries. Next slide, please. And the budget assumptions for services and supplies focus on adjusting historical expenditures for inflation and changes in usage. And by removing or adjusting one-time expenditures, we ensure that our budget reflects the ongoing operational needs. And those are the highlights of our assumptions for this budget. This slide provides an overview of the LACERA budget book, which serves as a comprehensive guide for trustees. So today we will be going over some highlights, but all the details of the budget are all obviously in the budget book, and we will be standing for questions after the fact. But this budget book has the essential information about the division's purpose, historical data, and significant changes from the previous year. This resource is crucial for ensuring transparency and informed decision-making among stakeholders. In reviewing the budget binders, you'll notice a consistent format for each division, moving from a high-level one-page summary to greater detail as you work your way back. We hope that this assists trustees now and throughout the year should you need to reference the budget. Next slide, please. The administrative budget has two main categories: salaries and employee benefits, and services and supplies. The proposed budget for salaries and employee benefits totals approximately $111 million, or $5 million more than fiscal year 24-25. The proposed budget for services and supplies totals approximately $35 million, or $500,000 more than fiscal year 24-25. Next slide, please.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
The percentage change, am I reading that wrong? It should it not be 6.9?
The percentage change is from, so if we're looking from salaries and employee
Or
benefits.
the total?
So, yeah.
You can go ahead.
Sorry for any confusion, Trustee Green. It's not a total. I understand the way that you see that. It's the percentage change is from the total. So because salaries and employee benefits are so much greater as a percentage than the total budget, the change year over year for salaries and employee benefits is 5.4%. The change year over year for supplies and services is 1.5%, but the total budget of 6.2 million that increases, that's a 4.5% increase overall. So it's that's why it's not that the change total doesn't work in the same way, if that makes sense.
So we're under predicted. I'm sorry, we came in under what was budgeted.
No, this is for what we are proposing. So what we are proposing is that we have an increase of 5.4% for salaries and employee benefits, an increase of 1.5% for supplies and services, and an overall budget increase of 4.5% or $6.2 million.
Thank you. Sorry, I was using engineer math.
I totally understand how you read the chart and got confused. So we apologize for that.
Thank you. So this slide is going to be highlighting our salaries, highlights noteworthy increases in salaries and employee benefits across LACERA. We have a net increase of 5 permanent positions, which are being requested for fiscal year 25-26. And the following slide will give you a little bit more detail about that. The full year salary and benefits impact of the positions is approximately $689,000. That's a fully loaded, including benefits. There are more details, as I indicated on the next slide. The temporary staff increase for fiscal year 25-26 is primarily due to the 2 significant short-term projects that Kathy talked about earlier in the systems division, the Enterprise Business Intelligence Project and the final phase of the mainframe migration project. And sick leave buyback increased significantly, but that's generally based on usage. Next slide, please.
I'd like to call Ms.
Before we
Mead.
go, can I ask some questions real quick? Yes. So the 5 new permanent position there, does it include the 3 new positions that we're talking about earlier for, ethics and compliance included?
Yes, it is. If you go to the next slide, it will outline exactly which positions we're referencing here.
So my question is that we are just going to the board supervisor for approving those new positions, right? It would take a bit of time. It would take some time for recruitment as well. Do we anticipate to do all the 3 position hiring in the next 14 months?
No.
But it's budgeted here.
No, so only the deputy, only 2 positions are reflected. So for the actual compliance officer and senior administrative assistant.
2 positions.
Yeah.
So likely we might hire deputies chief in this 25-26 fiscal year.
Chief, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kathy, or I'm not sure who's dealing with this. The temporary staff you were talking about for the 2 projects you were doing. Is there any way, and it might be because the county we can't, that we could do that on a full-time basis rather than on a temporary basis and spend, what are we spending? $1.5 million. Is that the only way we can do it, or could possibly we look at and do it differently?
Oh, whoops, my mic, sorry.
Or do you need that expertise from those people that understand that part of the project?
We do need dedicated resources, and we do need them full-time to move the project forward. I can't guarantee that we'll be able to find someone immediately.
That's the problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also an issue of classification, Trustee Oakham.
Yeah.
So
I
the
understand. I
not
understand.
having the changing the class or changing positions to reflect the duties changes classifications, and that's a very lengthy process, which we will be.
We haven't solved that problem at the county yet.
It's a
Okay.
well, yeah,
Enough said.
We're working on it.
I've been
let's put it
listening to
that
that for 5 years.
I do have a question, if I may. The budget impact requested position change for fiscal year 2025-26. We just, for the investment office, had that pay adjustment. And I was curious if that's reflected in this budget request proposal. And I don't see it, and I might be missing it. And how does that interface with this, with the new?
I think that hasn't happened yet. I think that's hasn't been approved, implemented and approved yet.
That's correct. Trustee Green, that at the time we developed this budget, at this point, that had not been approved and still hasn't gone through both boards. So at this point, we have not made any adjustment for that potential. We will, just like we haven't adjusted anything for potential COLAs. So any salary changes that ultimately become approved by the boards, we would try to absorb. And if we are not able to do that, we would come back at the mid-year when we have a better understanding of the total cost and the budgetary need.
So there is a chance that, say everything goes through great, there is a place to call an audible to make that adjustment within the approved budget.
Absolutely. So we have some flexibility within the budget. We try to budget. We don't try to budget overly precisely, but we do try to anticipate what our needs are. And as we monitor our actual expenditures, and we determine what the total costs are for future salary increases that get negotiated and approved, as well, which includes the adjustments that the boards are considering but have not yet approved for the investment division. We would assess whether an adjustment was needed. If we thought an adjustment was needed, our process is to come to this committee and then to both boards as a mid-year budget process.
Thank you for that information. Mr. Lugo?
Yeah, and just a point of clarification, Trustee Green, the adjustments that were discussed in the BOI and that'll come to the BOR in May, it's an informational memo. It's a CEO delegated authority. So it's the timing is to have that after the BOR approved in May, but I want to make sure it's not going through the boards for approval. It's more informational to get feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further questions, next slide. Thank you. The fiscal year 25-26 services and supplies budget is $35 million. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong slide here. So this slide here highlights significant increases across LACERA for our services and supplies. Professional and specialized services are expected to increase by about 20%, primarily due to consulting services related to several divisions. One is the human resources recruitment support, administrative services records management consultant, the biannual economic impact report in the executive office, a strategic planning consultant, and superior member experience, consultant for our workforce planning, as well as our new SASE project, which is funded through InfoSec. Our educational expenses are expected to increase by about 8%. The proposed increase is the result of multiple divisions requesting a modest adjustment in alignment with Strategic Initiative 3, which is investing in people. This initiative underscores LACERA's commitment to becoming an employer of choice at all levels. And finally, disability fees and services are expected to increase by 12% due to an anticipated increase in production due to hiring new team members. So they are currently in the process of hiring several new team members, so the increase in production would increase fees overall. If there's no questions on this slide, I'll move to the next one. So this slide highlights noteworthy decreases for our services and supplies. Computer services and support expenses are expected to decrease by approximately $925,000 or 12.3%. And equipment maintenance costs are expected to decrease by $231,000 or 54%. The decrease were attributed to the completion of the fiscal year 24-25 system projects and a calculated restructuring of funding towards new initiatives and objectives for the upcoming fiscal year. And that concludes the administrative budget highlights. If there's no further questions on that, I'm going to move on to the retiree healthcare and OPEB trust budgets.
Great question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. May.
So if you can go back the slide, 2 slides earlier. One more. Here, could you help me understand?
Gotta go the other way. Oh, you're asking a question. Okay, I'm sorry.
So on this slide here, could you help me understand the disability fees and service, what that is?
Yes, they're primarily based on the fact that they're going to anticipate an increase in production related to 2 factors. One, because they're increasing production goals for the team, for the entire team. And the second, because they're in the process of hiring. They're, I believe, going to attempt to bring on about 7 new team members, which will also increase productivity. So this fees associated with the processing of the disability application, which would include like the medical fees, ordering of records, potentially job analysts or investigative services. Any of those fees that are related to that increase in processing is reflected here in this increase.
So it's a fee associated with potentially hiring like employee with disability. Is that, did I understand correctly?
I think I can explain it. So we have a significant backlog of members who we are in the process of, who are pending disability retirements. And each time we go through a disability retirement, this is heard by the Board of Retirement, we have outside experts that assist us with assessing that member's specific disability.
Okay.
And so as we produce more to address our backlog, those costs for those medical services will increase.
Got it. So associated with our application as disabled retirement.
Yes. So we are expecting to process more cases. And so that processing more cases will decrease our backlog, hopefully keep up with demand and hopefully decrease our backlog, process cases more swiftly. It takes a fair amount of time now. But that will increase, obviously, the year-over-year cost.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. The proposed budget for the administration of the retiree healthcare benefits program totals approximately $13.1 million, which is $408,000 or 3.1% less than fiscal year 24-25. The most significant impact of this change is related to salary and employee benefits, and specifically variable benefits. This is really related to the fact that we have an increase in PEPRA staff. So, next slide. The 6.3% retiree healthcare departmental overhead increase can be largely attributed to the 3% cost of living increase applied to staff directly working on RHC's overhead. So furthermore, we have divisions whose costs are shared across all divisions and portioned out for RHC, such as admin, HR, and systems. And when these division budgets increase, the RHC overhead will have a corresponding increase. Additionally, $25,000 was added for a special retiree mailing to cover potential increases in postage, printing, mailing, and other unanticipated member special mailing costs for retiree healthcare. And those are the highlights of the significant increases across the RHC budget. This slide highlights the significant decreases across RHC. There again are variable benefits related to PEPRA staff And so we're seeing a significant decrease here of $945,000. Outside legal costs, there is a decrease due to outside legal consultants involved in the negotiation and formulation of a possible tier 3. That effort has since been paused. Therefore, a reduction in the need to contract for legal services is not necessary, and we're seeing a decrease in that area. And finally, for the OPEB valuation, the triannual valuation was completed last fiscal year, and the budget was reduced to reflect such. Next slide. Unless you have any questions about retiree healthcare, we're going to move on to the OPEB trust budget summary.
Just a point of information that because it's lumped in with the triennial, that's the decrease in the valuation, right?
Correct.
Excellent.
And let's see. Our OPEB budget overall has increased by 14%, and really the increase is directly related to salary and employee benefits. And because we are pre-funding the OPEB trust, any investment personnel related to working on this endeavor will reflect that increase in salary and employee benefits. And that's really the only summary I have for the OPEB trust. And with that, I thank you today for your time. And if you have any questions, I stand for questions along with our team.
Well, thank you all for the presentation. I do like, I know Carly and JJ with the internal, attrition, looking at kind of crystal ball, to JJ too for putting that stuff together. You can't ask somebody when they're going to go, but you can, through deductive reasoning, as they say. And so it's good. It gives a little bit clearer picture and allows, which leads to my next thing. We were talking here, I know we're beating the county hands down on days to hire by about 106 days. I know they're a bigger ship with a small rudder. The question is how do we shorten that time? Is it come down to an ordinance position authorization through CEO? Is that what is the blockade? I don't want to take away from the efforts because it is a lot. It depends on where you're hiring, whether external or internal promotion. But that process, is it a staffing thing or is it a CEO ordinance position blockade or?
No, I would not say that the county presents a hurdle for us in this case because we're measuring the time to hire from the time the job posting opens, the time the person is boarded. So, some of the exams just vary some, right? So the ones that are closer to 62 days have probably shorter and more targeted recruitment plan and maybe one test part in comparison to something a little bit bigger. For example, the RBS 1 has 3 test parts, and we're looking at probably close to 1,000 candidates to move through a process to get them onboarded at the same date and same time, moving them through backgrounds just takes a little bit longer.
And for example, so this average, like with benefits, does this include benefit people in the call center, their training?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
it does include
so,
the RBS 1 class.
And that's a case where they have a 30-day training cycle, right? Is it?
Oh, well, no, it includes their recruitment time. So the time that we start accepting applications till they start on their first day, which that is a longer process. So it does impact the average.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'd be good. Maybe, I don't know, it'd be interesting data to see kind of the range. I would enjoy that information.
Yes,
because
certainly.
it paints a clearer picture. I mean, when you throw, I think I would like it. So.
Yeah, we're presenting at the BOR offsite. I don't know if you'll be there. And that's definitely something that we'll talk more about.
I'm going to be there with bows in my hair, of course.
Trustee Green, if I may, it's a really good question in terms of our time to hire. That's one of the metrics, if you recall, with Ms. Delano talking about our business intelligence. One of the things we want to do in the HR division is one area in terms of recruitment is really understand that time to hire, because there are different roles and responsibilities. It's not only HR and the recruitment team, it's a division manager. It's a lot of different steps to get someone from the concept of they need a hire to actually onboard. So we want to be able to evaluate each and every step and opportunities to shorten it. So whether it's on HR side, we could be more efficient, on the manager side, on our process. So that's one of the things in terms of some of the business intelligence and KPIs that we want to get some of those data insights. And I think we're focusing in on HR as one of those areas as well. And that time to hire is big.
They're washing the information technology washes the hand of the hiring process with that data collection and the processing, and especially probably I'm assuming with internal promotion too, that transition. Well, thanks for clarifying. Does anybody have anything miss me?
I do have a question. First
Thank
of all,
you, guys.
thank you for the presentation. I can see how much work behind this whole budget plan, and thank you for everyone for the hard work. So touch base on the HR in the effort. I know we have like more work to do and room to improve everything, right? So, but in the same time, I think we should also recognize the progress that we made. Besides the days, the days of hiring, I think if we compare with the county department, what I heard is that the county department's vacancy rate is like 20 or more %. So we are doing better than county departments if compare that measures. I don't know how we do compare a pension fund, but always, as an organization, we always try to do better, and continue to improve our practice. So that's one comment I have on that. And then I want to go to the appendix slides. I have a question on 97, slide 97 on the appendix. Sorry, I do look into the materials. I'm new on the JACC committee, and then this is an opportunity for me to learn about, what we do as a whole in the organization. I think this budget plan show me, the work that we do. Slide 97. So I do appreciate that opportunity for me to learn. Should be 97. But it's on the appendix. Yeah. Okay.
97 out of 439 is what we're looking for.
While we're waiting for Bonnie to put it up, I can ask a question. So I'm looking at the appendix about the progress on the work plan, strategic objective, on how far we've gone in each, strategic goal. And the 3.0, the one that caught my attention is the 3.0 investing in people. So that's the goal that it seems to be have the most item with delay or stop. So the label is delay or stop. So I'm not sure if each item there is a delay, is a stop. It's not a criticism. I just try to understand, if it's a stop, it's a reason that how we stop this target those goals, or if it's delay, is there any challenge there to achieve those goals that we can, as a board, can support to help you get there. So 3.1, investing in people, there are 5, 4 for them delay or stop. And then,
Yes, Trustee Me. So we do address this. This is the Board of Retirement Strategic Plan. And so we do address this quarterly in the OOC. But in general, the main issue is, as we've been trying to stand up a new a formal diversity, equity, inclusion program for the Board of Retirement, we've had some sort of changes in approach, not a lack of commitment in any way, if that helps. We don't have dedicated staff for this. This is a purely HR and myself, and then a group of interested volunteers within the organization. have been working on evolving this initiative. But it's mostly that as we, I think Council Rice mentioned, you don't know what you don't know. And that's definitely something that we experienced as we've started exploring how to implement this program more formally, identifying some adjustments to allow us to really move forward in a purposeful way.
So they were making adjustment to this strategic goal, like in
There were some that we have decided not to move forward with. So that's and that is part of it. But our commitment to steps, not the program itself. So individual steps like hiring a consultant, we decided we didn't need to pursue that. But other aspects like and a charter, we kind of have a change of direction. So we will be this fiscal year making basically our plan for the current fiscal year is to really adopt a statement of commitment that we then publish on our website, LACERA.com, that we communicate with all of our staff, that really sort of identifies what does this mean for LACERA, and it's aligned with our value of inclusivity.
So all these changes, I assume, is like being discussed, but like in board or BOR in detail, and then get the board approve on the direction we're changing.
This is implemented by the staff, so it's something that we've been reporting to the boards. That to date we haven't had a detailed discussion about it, but I'm sure that we will.
Looking forward to hear more. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody out there in the virtual world have any comments or questions? Any additional information? Okay, so we lost quorum. So I believe that we just need to get this information over to the two boards. If you may, this board will not be able to vote to direct you to do so. Mr. Rice, if you want to weigh in on that, but
Yes, under the teleconference rules, AB 2449, we need a physical quorum in the boardroom, and we don't right now. We're missing two. So we can proceed, but we can't vote.
Understand. So may we direct staff to send to the two boards for as a point of information?
The staff can certainly take the comments that were made today and factor them into their presentation to the joint boards in May.
Okay, thank you.
We're apparently going to have Mr. Jones back more momentarily. We do need Mr. Oakham as well.
Yeah, I think without Mr. Oakham here, we won't have quorum. So.
But the staff can take the input provided today into consideration as they go forward
Thank you for
to
that.
board approval.
Thank you for that clarification. That would be our direction. Thanks for the presentation, you guys. Thanks for the work on it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Even if Trustee Jones came back, we won't have.
He left. Oh, he left.
Okay, moving on through the agenda, item 7C, proposal for relocation and expansion. This will be.
Well, this was supposed to be for board action or for committee action, but it will be for committee input.
Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing. It's going to be for the rest of our items here. Yeah, including 7D, correct?
Yes.
So, let me defer to, give me 1 second, please. This is information. So it's all this stuff's going to be presented to both boards. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Robbins?
Two things. Sorry y'all didn't get the memo, number one. Number two, I just want to go on record say I'm in support of the boardroom project. I don't need to say it. We started talking about this 6 years ago. And yeah, a good 6 years ago, and it's long overdue. And I think it's a great idea. And that's all I have to say. I like the plan. Looks like it's a great idea.
So, Mr. Rice, I would ask for your input. The remaining items in item 7, and since we have no ability to vote to direct staff, and these are going to be communicated again to the BOI and BOR at some point in the future. Is it possible that we move on through the agenda, we table this since we can't take action on it, and move into item 8?
Yes, there's no ability to take action today. So yes, the only thing you can do is either listen and give the comments of the group that's present, or just table the entire item. C does go to the boards. Item D is your internal committee calendar. So I think that Bonnie and Linda will do what they need to do to schedule future meetings of the JOGC.
But even item 7D, we don't have the ability to firm it up, so to speak.
You can't take a vote to approve. You could discuss and give a sense of what dates you're available. You could do that today, which might be helpful.
Okay, and I think that I think I apologize to everyone for compiling all this stuff, but if this information is going to be discussed again and able to be implemented as proposed or adjusted, I think we should move on. Move on to, we can have a discussion on potential scheduling on item 7D, but without objection, I would, as co-chair, I'd like to go ahead and move on forward. Any objection to that? Sure.
On the item C,
Thank you, Mr. Rice.
slide 8. It's great to see that we have an opportunity to move from 9. I'm so sorry, slide 9. Thank you. I'm just trying to understand here on the slide, how does it impact us one way or the other? Before I get to the detailed question here, I want to know, every time we have a board meeting, I noticed there's a lot of LACERA staff are calling on Teams, right? Because there's limited capacity, and then approximately how many people usually call in from the staff, like from Team, because lack of capacity here.
Through the chair, Trustee Mee, I'll take a stab at that. I don't know that we have tracked how many people call in via Teams. We have a lot of staff who observe, there's a capacity. I think the audience capacity is 35. That does not allow all the staff who really would benefit from observing the proceedings, to see the interaction of the board, to hear your questions firsthand, to get that feedback firsthand, for them to participate in person. So a lot of times, a lot of staff will monitor remotely. They're not necessarily calling in via the Zoom channel. Sometimes they are just observing or watching the live stream. So we can't really tell how many that is. We also don't know if generally staff in that situation will listen to the specific item they were here for, but they miss out on maybe something they weren't anticipating. So there's definitely a benefit for folks to have a larger audience. But also when there's joint meetings, it's very tight, even among the trustees. But generally, this room definitely has limited capacity. So it would double the audience size from about 35 to about 70 spaces. So that would allow there would still be times when staff would monitor or need to participate remotely, but it would certainly allow for more staff on a regular basis to participate in the proceedings.
Right, I see the big benefit here is to accommodate staff to be in the room with us, right, in this discussion.
It's definitely one of the advantages.
Thank you. My question on the estimate cost here, this slide show here is I'm trying to understand how this work, because I was told that this building is actually owned by our investment team is part of real estate, portfolio, right, in a separate account. Is it like, does it mean that the money, the rent that we're paying is basically coming from one pocket to the other pocket?
Essentially, yes. So as we mentioned in the budget presentation earlier, the cost of the system are borne by the investment earnings, but are the administrative cost, but the lease space that we provide is part of our administrative budget. So in the proposed administrative budget that you just considered, we did not include any funding for this project specifically. There's construction costs, which are estimated to be about $1.5 million. That would be funded through, LACERA has a lease. So the administrative services division manages, investments in administrative services manage a lease. And so we pay for the office space that LACERA occupies. We occupy about half of the building. And through that, we have a tenant improvement allowance, like other tenants. And so that tenant improvement allowance, there's a pool of money that's actually set to expire because our lease will be expiring. The current lease will be expiring in December, and will be negotiating a new agreement. That we can use that tenant improvement money for the construction portion of that first floor. But things like the technology upgrades or installations and the furniture, that would be something that we would have to pay for out of our administrative budget. We wouldn't anticipate those expenditures if we were to begin immediately after the board's improvement. It would still take 12 to 18 months, probably closer to that 18 months, to actually complete the construction, and the technology and the furniture would be purchased towards the end of that period. So it wouldn't be needed in 25, 26. It would be budgeted in 26, 27. So, and that estimate, it's very difficult in these very uncertain economic times, but we very conservatively estimated $700,000 for those improvements.
I think, yeah. No more question on this. Thank you for it.
But I will say, if we do not, if we don't use this space that's on that first floor, which is currently vacant, the investment team, and this is an would seek to find another tenant for that space. And that's where time is sort of the essence, because we have a duty to try to generate revenue for that space if there's not a desire to proceed. So that was really the main goal of our discussion today, is there a desire by this committee, by both boards, for us to proceed or not?
guess we can further discuss this since we don't have a quorum. We can gather more input from all the trustees from both boards. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Mayor, are you satisfied? Okay, great. I just briefed my chair.
Sorry about that. I had a call related to a particular student in my care, so.
I just said, hey, since we don't have quorum, if we maybe ask Ms. Nolly if she can reach out to all JOGC members for the scheduling dates.
So the discussion can take place as far as the dates today, or if you would like to hold off.
We don't, for the future dates, we don't have any, we have.
So we won't approve them today, but we can place them and confirm with the other trustees. Or if you want to see them.
Ms. Martin is absent also, so.
And the normal schedule for this is twice a year. I'm trying to remember what the jog says.
Correct, July and November. We can go ahead and canvass the other trustees if you like. Okay.
So so just moving on then, yeah, if you could reach out and everybody, we don't need to have the discussion. Just go off to item 8, items for staff review.
Mr. Chair, quick question. Sorry.
Sorry.
So the obviously we can't vote today, but then the new boardroom, do we need to vote on it sooner? I mean, do we have to wait for the next JOGC or?
No, it's too far out. It's going to come to both boards, the
Okay.
BOR, the BOI, for discussion and approval or alteration.
Great. So it's going to move forward because I'm supportive of it as well. So just want to make sure it moves forward. Could I just ask I'm sorry, could I ask a quick question or are we off that item already?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, if you'd like to revisit it.
Just a quick question. I think it's great. It has 21-seat dais. Is there option to possibly expand that a little bit more because of that measure G? I mean, we don't know what I think 21 seats is more than fine, but who knows what's going to happen. So while we're doing this massive improvement or change, maybe we should have, I don't know, fit a few more seats up there while we're constructing.
Measure G, even though there are going to be more supervisors, there will not be more trustees on the LACERA boards.
Okay.
Did you hear that? Okay, gotcha. Trustee Rim. All right. Any other questions related to the last topic or? Yeah, go ahead.
Just a question and a comment regarding, I was thinking about that very question over the weekend, Steve. When they expand the board to 9, we're going to have 4 appointed and 5 will not have an appointment at any given point in time, correct?
The appointments are by the Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors has decided to implement historically this rotational system among the 5 current trustees. I don't know what system, what they'll come up when the number of supervisors is increased so much. So that's going to be up to them to figure out how they're going to make their appointments. But our board composition is fixed by Searle, and Searle is not changed as a result of Measure G. So we'll continue to have 9 plus 2 on the Board of Retirement and 9 on the Board of Investments.
That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you,
Trustee Robbins. Okay, there being none, then do we want to move on to items for staff review? Were there any items for staff review?
No items to report.
Thank you. Thank you again, Laura. And then items for future agendas.
Yes, we do have one item. Trustee Green requested a future OOC item be agendized regarding hosted solutions.
Gotcha. Okay. And then anything for the good of the order, Trustee Rue, Trustee Me, Trustee Robbins, Trustee Green.
Thanks to staff for all being here. We'll see you tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so again, apologize for the disruption. I had a call related to a student under my care. On there, the thank you to staff, because I know the budget stuff is very heavy. I was kind of passively listening through one ear on there, listening to some of the questions. I may revisit with you, Laura, kind of afterwards, just a couple of questions there. And then otherwise, beyond thank you to staff, the last thing that I think I'll say is the related to the attendance and all of that for this. I know these are kind of set well in advance in this perspective. I want to make sure that we can conduct business when we need to. Bonnie, you've been managing this longer than probably anyone else. Is this kind of a normal flow? Sometimes it's just kind of uneven when you can kind of get trustees here or not, or how do you?
We should reach out to the forum to ensure that there is support for the meetings.
Okay.
And sometimes there's, they have to sleep at certain times.
I feel you, yeah, in that degree. So we just want to make sure that given that everyone is busy and there's emergencies and things that come up, that when we are able to gather, that we are able to conduct business satisfactorily. So just an encouragement to our peers at that level. And when they do teleconference here, they can't vote if they're not in the county.
They can vote. We just need a quorum in the boardroom.
In the boardroom. Okay, gotcha. Thanks for the distinction. Okay. All right. With that being said, let's adjourn. Thank you very much, staff.
Trustee Jones.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We observed, just as a point of information, the physical quorum in a boardroom requirement is in AB 2449 for those who are participating remotely for good cause or emergency circumstances.
Mhm.
There is still the traditional method, which doesn't require a quorum in the boardroom. It just requires a quorum in LA County, but that requires the place where the trustee is going to be teleconferencing from to be posted on the
in
agenda.
advance.
So we still have that option, which gives some additional flexibility.
Okay, so as we're
There-
canvassing, we can kind of scale through the options to find out, just to make sure that we have a working quorum, then, right? Okay, all right.
Yeah, but with the additional information that posting in the agenda, it also has to be, there has to be signage and.
Yes,
Yeah.
at the
At that
remote
time.
locations. That's correct.
Okay. All right. So again, thank you. Meeting adjourned.